Hi, it's AJ. Welcome to this month's new lesson for the VIP program. Now, in this video lesson, of course, I will talk about leadership. And today I want to talk about the number one job of a leader. I mean, what is it? We know a lot about techniques for leadership. And last month, actually, I told you a few methods and techniques for leadership: to be grateful, to appreciate other people, to catch other people doing good things and notice it. So those are kind of techniques and methods to help you be a better leader. But we also need to know, what is a leader? What is your number one job? I don't know. What is it? Is it to motivate people? Is it to, create a dream and a vision? Is it to set goals and create goals for your group? All of those things are important, in fact. They are all part of leadership. And also, sometimes you have to correct people. So if somebody's very negative or they're not doing a good job, as a leader, you need to know how to respond to that person so that they can change and help all of the group and help the big goal and the big vision that you have. So, of course, all of those things are very important. But, what is the number one thing? The first thing you must do as a leader, and the thing you must always remember, the thing you must always focus on, what is it? Well, a lot of people have a lot of ideas about this, but I agree with Keith Cunningham about this idea. And I believe the number one job of a leader is to create an amazing culture for your group. Now, what is that? What do I mean? Create an amazing culture. Well, what is culture? We know about culture, for example, in a country, the culture of America, the culture of Japan. What is that? Well, really, culture is a group of beliefs about, what is the right way to do things and what's the wrong way to do things. So culture is just a lot of beliefs and ideas about how should we act? What should we do and how should we do it? And how do we interact with other people? Right? That's culture. The most basic definition of culture, that's what it is. Now, all groups have culture. Of course, countries have culture, and religions can have culture. But so can a club like the Effortless English Club. So can a business. So can a department inside a business, right? Inside any group, the whole group together will create a culture. There are ideas. How do you talk to other people? How do you act? What is good? What is not good? What do we notice? What do we not notice? All of these things, it creates a certain culture in a group, right? So many times the culture is not specifically decided or written down or specifically talked about, right? There's not a big list of things that say this is what we do, this is how we talk to people, this is what we think is a good person, this is what we think is not a good person. We don't usually write those things down and talk about them, that cultural part of our groups. We write down goals. And we talk about goals all the time. This is what we want to achieve. But just day to day, every day, how do we act? What do we do? Oftentimes in groups, those things are not openly talked about. They're kind of hidden, right? We all know, you get a feeling if you go to one company. You can get a feeling, for example, that maybe that part of the culture is to be very serious all the time. And not to laugh a lot, not to joke a lot. In that group, being funny and laughing a lot is not good. Now, is there a rule somewhere in a book that says do not laugh and do not be funny? No, of course not. Not usually. It's just the culture of the group. All the members of the group, and especially the leader or leaders of the group, have created that culture, but it comes from their actions. They often don't say it directly. Now, in another company, you might go to a different company, and everybody's really enthusiastic, and everybody's fun, and they're always laughing, and they're having a great time and smiling, and it's this very fun, creative kind of culture. Now, is there a rule where they wrote down, you must smile, you must have fun, and you must laugh a lot? No, not usually, right? Again, usually, how does that culture get created? Usually it's from the actions and the behavior of the leaders and the group as a whole, everybody in that group. And together, they create this fun, exciting culture. And in the other company, together, they create a very serious culture. Now, unfortunately, in a lot of groups, culture gets created accidentally. The leader doesn't think about it. It just happens. How does it happen? Well, there's the leader, and then the leader, hires or invites or gets other group members, and they all just kind of get together, and then because of their personalities, or because of each of their individual beliefs, they all together kind of create something, and then some kind of culture is created. But often it happens accidentally. So it might become serious, it might be funny, it might be really effective, it might be not effective, it might be really inefficient and waste a lot of time. But often it happens accidentally, and that's the problem. Because as leaders, our job is really to think, what kind of culture do we want in our group? And how do we decide that? Well, we need to think about our vision. What is our big vision? What is our huge, big dream and goal? What do we want to happen in this group? For the whole group and also for every individual person. So first we decide that. And then we think and we ask, what kind of culture do we need so that we can achieve our dream? These are the two important questions. Number one, what is our dream? What's the big dream, the big vision? And number two, what kind of culture do we need in our group to achieve that dream? So for example, Apple Computer. They're one of my favorite examples. I think they're a great company. And they're a very creative, innovative company. Now, they have a culture that is very creative and fun and innovative. And that culture was not an accident. Steve Jobs, the leader of Apple, he very specifically created a culture of creativity and innovation. He thought about it, and he knew that that's what he wanted. So every decision he makes, he's always thinking, how can I make a more innovative culture? When he hires people, when he's interviewing people, he's always looking for innovative, creative people. When he is giving speeches, when he's talking to people in the company, he's always focused and talking about innovation and creativity. Right? He's always focusing on these topics and talking about them, hiring people who also focus on them. He created that culture of people in Apple very specifically. And of course, the results have been fantastic. Apple is a growing company, very innovative, very successful company. Now, that's what he chose. Other companies might choose something different. Maybe innovation is not their focus. Maybe they have a different focus and they need a different culture. That's fine. So, the point is, you got to think about it and then you got to create it as a leader. So how do you create a culture? Let me give you some specific tips and methods for doing this. So first you think, what is our big goal? What is the vision? So for example, with Effortless English, what's my vision? Okay, for the group, my vision is to create a group that changes English learning in all of the world. That's a big goal, okay? That's a big, big vision. And when I say change, I mean to create a new way of learning English and, in fact, everything. A new way of learning that is powerful, effective, fun, and interesting. And to change education in all of the world. Woo! That's a big goal for our group. And we're just starting. Now, I also have a goal for every individual in our group, right? So I have the big group goal, then also every individual. What do I want for you, each member of Effortless English? Well, first, I want you to speak English more and more confidently, more quickly, more easily, more automatically, and especially the emotion. I want you to feel confident when you speak English. And then I want you to use that speaking confidence to have more success in your life. Better job, better career, better business, more friends, more connections in all of the world. And just be a happier, more successful person. And then finally, I want you to become a true global leader where you help other people be more confident. You help other people be more successful. And together, you help all of us change learning and education in all of the world. So that's my really big vision and dream for the Effortless English Club. So my next step, I thought, okay, that's what I want. Now, what kind of culture do we need in our club to achieve that big, big vision? So I had to think about that. I'm like, how do I want people to act? How do I want people to communicate with each other? What should they focus on? What will be the general feeling and culture of our group? So I thought about it and I realized, okay, well, number one, I want people to be confident. So how do we create more confidence in people? Well, we have to be positive. We have to be encouraging. We have to encourage people all the time. Say lots of good things to them. Find what they are good at. See what they are strong at. So focus on their strengths and get our members to always be focusing on what's good, what's powerful, what is their strength, what is their success. When you focus on those positive things, you feel more and more confident. And when you feel more confident, you have more success in your life. So I realized that, number one, in our culture, in the club, I have to create a culture where people are very positive, where they are focused on success, where they are not focused on negative things, where they encourage each other, they compliment each other, where they tell a lot of success stories to each other. That creates confidence. So I realized, okay, I need to create that kind of culture. And I also thought about sort of the negative part, what is not good? What do I not want in our culture? And I realized, I don't want people correcting errors. I don't want people to focus on mistakes. When you focus on mistakes, your confidence goes down, down, down. Also, as an English teacher, I know that it doesn't help. It doesn't really improve English. There's a lot of research about this, and people still don't believe me. I don't care. There's a lot of strong research about this, that when you correct people's errors, when you correct their mistakes, for example, correct their grammar mistakes, it doesn't help. They just forget it later. They know it intellectually, mentally, but they will still do the same mistake again later. They have to get better grammar from listening and hearing correct, positive, good things. And then eventually their brain automatically learns the good, correct English. So I realized, okay, no error correction, no strong criticism. We're not going to criticize each other. We're not going to focus on mistakes. So that's another part of the culture that I really thought about, and I wrote it down, and I said that has to be part of the culture. And so in our Effortless English Club, we focus on good things. We focus on success. We focus on feeling more confident. We focus on strengths. We compliment each other. We notice when other people do good things. That's what we do. And we do not focus on mistakes. We do not correct mistakes. That's part of the culture, and I created that very deliberately. Okay, I chose to do that because I knew that that culture is important to reach our big vision and our big goals. So you see how this works. When you have the vision, you have to decide what kind of group you want and need. Now, something else I decided for the culture was that our culture needed to be friendly and fun and energetic and enthusiastic. Now, one reason is that I am that kind of person. So I'm a friendly, fun, enthusiastic person. I have a lot of energy. So just for me, I know I want other people who are fun and friendly and have energy. I don't want a club with a bunch of boring, tired people, okay? Because I won't enjoy it. So that's part of it too. As the leader, you have to look at yourself and see what kind of person are you. If you are a super serious person, then maybe it will be difficult for you to create a fun, energetic culture. Maybe you need to create a serious culture. Serious is not bad. In many businesses, you want serious. When I go to my accountant or to my bank, I want them to be a little bit serious. They're dealing with my money. So I don't want just fun and yee-haw, right? So in some companies, we need serious. Serious is a good thing in certain companies, in certain cultures. So there's not right and wrong. It's just you have to look, what is your big vision? What is your dream? And also look at yourself. What kind of person are you as a leader? And then you use those things and you choose your culture. Don't let it happen accidentally. You need to create a culture very specifically. So again, I wanted something that was fun. I also knew that fun and laughing and smiling helps you feel more confident, right? When people are nervous and shy, they are usually very serious, right? Oh my God, I'm going to make a mistake. Oh, and they lose their confidence. But when they're laughing and smiling, they feel better. Usually they feel more confident. It's hard to feel nervous when you're laughing and smiling and having fun. So again, that's part of the big goal and the vision. I wanted energy, enthusiasm, fun, and friendliness. Because all of those things help confidence, they help success, and they would help all of our group be successful and have our big vision and our big goal. So these were the main things I decided for the culture, the kind of interaction I wanted in our group. So finally, I had to decide, okay, so I know the vision, and now I know the kind of culture I want. So there's one last thing. How do I create it? I mean, how do I make a fun, confident culture that's very positive, that's not negative, that's not too serious? So I had to, you really got to think about it. And then what you do is you develop a code. You guys know I just did this. You develop a code. And the code is kind of a group of principles. Very general principles, not super specific. Very general principles about how we do things in this group. Now, when you create a code for your group, there's a few things you must think about. Number one, the code must be short. This is a problem in a lot of groups. They have a long mission statement or a long list of rules or codes or principles. There's like 20 things on the list. And unfortunately, what happens, people ignore it. They forget it, they ignore it. It's too much to remember. It's too complicated. So they have this long, complicated statement. This is our mission statement. These are our values. These are the things we do at our company or our group. And it's really long, this big, long code and principles and blah, blah, blah. Nobody really reads it. Nobody remembers it. And usually nobody follows it. So the culture actually just happens by accident again. So this is a very important point. When you create a culture, it has to be simple. Very simple, very short. As a leader, your job is to focus on things. You choose what people will focus on. Now, you can't focus on 100 things at the same time. That's not focus. Focus means, by definition, focus means looking at just one or a few things. And you're looking at them repeatedly. And you're doing them repeatedly. Just a few small things. Repeatedly done. Repeatedly talked about. Again and again and again and again and again. That's focus. Your job as a leader is to create a culture by focusing people on a few principles and repeating them again and again and again and again, and with your behavior showing them again and again and again and again, and talking about them again and again and again and again. So what did I do with our effortless English code? Now in the beginning I didn't write it down actually. I did that recently, but it was always in my head. But recently I actually wrote it down. There's only 3 parts. Not 100, not 20, not 10, not 8, 3. There are only 3 parts to the code, right? We do the best we can is number 1. We do the best we can. So what does that mean? It means we don't worry too much about mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. Just do your best. Do your best with English. Do your best when you're as a leader. Do your best in every part of your life. But you're not going to be perfect. You will make mistakes. Don't worry about it too much. Right? That's the important thing. Do the best you can. Now, I wrote that down and I think about it and I communicate it and I focus on it all the time. And I'm constantly telling people, don't focus on mistakes. Don't focus on grammar rules. Don't worry about correcting errors and mistakes. Just do the best you can. And I talk about it all the time, and with my behavior, I show it because I make mistakes. When I make mistakes, I share them with you. I show you. You see the computer problems we have sometimes with our business. I don't try to hide that. I show you. Why? Because it's an important part of our culture. I want you to see that I also am doing the best that I can, but I also make mistakes. I also have problems. Sometimes I make a grammar mistake when I'm speaking or writing. Or I make a pronunciation mistake. And usually I don't cut it out. I leave it in the lesson. I leave it in my video. I want you to see it. Why am I doing that? Well, it's because I chose this culture. I have to show you with my actions that it's okay to make mistakes sometimes. As a leader, it's not enough to say it. You have to show it too. So if your culture says mistakes are okay, don't worry about it, well, then you as a leader, when you make a mistake, you need to let people see it and you show them, hey, I made a mistake. I'm doing the best I can. I'm sorry. That's what I do. That's what Kristen and Joe do at Effortless Learn Real English. It's part of our culture. And as a result, all our members have this same, right? You as leaders are doing the same thing. And I hope in our group you have to show other leaders the same thing. Don't correct other people's mistakes. Never, never, never. It's not part of our culture. And when you make a mistake, don't apologize for it. A lot of our newer members, they write and then they apologize at the end. I'm so sorry. I know my English is terrible. Please forgive me. I know my English is horrible and I am bad at English. And they write all this stuff on the forums, right? And it's not necessary. Relax about it. So as leaders, we need to tell those people, don't apologize. Just do the best you can. Stop focusing on your mistakes. Stop worrying about them. Just be positive and focus on what you're doing well. That's part of our culture. So you get the idea, right? We got the 3 codes. Of course, number 3 is my favorite. We show other people that we care. That's part of being friendly and fun and nice. It means we support each other. We encourage each other. That's an important part of our culture. So I have this code of just 3 things, and I talk about it, and I show it, and I repeat it again and again and again and again. I don't talk about 1,000 things. I don't talk about 20 things. I talk about just 3, and I focus on them again and again and again. That's how you create a culture in a group, in an organization. The leader has to choose the culture by focusing on just a few things. 3 is a good number. Not more than 5. 5 is the maximum. So you need to think about the big vision. Step 1. What's your big vision, your big goal for the whole group and for each individual in the group? Step 2. You imagine, what kind of culture do I need in this group to achieve the vision and the dream? And then finally, step 3, you think, okay, what are 3 principles, 3 general principles that we need in the group to create this culture and therefore achieve our big vision? And finally, there's step 4, and it's actually very simple and easy. After you choose your 3 principles, you as the leader, all you need to do is focus on them. Like obsessively focus on them. Talk about them constantly. Tell other people about them constantly. Teach those 3 things constantly. Repeat them again and again and again. Show them with your own actions constantly. When you see other members in your group following your 3 principles or one of the principles, notice them. Celebrate them. Tell their story. Compliment them directly. Ask your leaders, your other leaders in your group. Tell them, please focus on these 3 things. And teach them how to focus on those 3 things. And help them teach everybody else in the group about those 3 things. And that's all you need to do. Again and again, you have 1,000 leadership techniques to help you. And in future lessons, I will teach you specific techniques like telling stories about your heroes or using the, catch people doing something right. Or there's a lot of leadership methods and techniques to help you. But there are only 3 things that you focus on. You use all these techniques, but all the techniques are always focused on the 3 principles, the 3 principles, the 3 principles, the 3 principles. And you're always trying to make those 3 principles stronger and stronger and stronger in every way, with your actions, with your rules, with what you talk about, with everything you do. You are obsessively focusing on those 3 principles. That's how you create a super culture. Super, super powerful. And it gets stronger, and it grows, and it gets stronger, and it grows, and it gets stronger, and it grows. That's how you create a incredibly powerful culture, like Apple Computer, for example. Or any super big, successful company that is really powerful, and they succeed every year. I mean, not just quickly, but year after year after year after year. Companies like Toyota, for example, they're constantly successful. Why? Because they have a super incredible, amazing culture. It's so strong. Because their leaders have focused on a few things again and again and again and again constantly. So everybody in that group is focused on those same things. And they become total masters in that area with those 3 things. Toyota, it's things like quality, for example. With Apple, it's innovation. With Effortless English, it's confidence with speaking and success and leadership. Global leadership. That's how we're using English. That's what English is about. It's about being a global citizen, part of a global world community, and being successful globally, and being a global leader. And we are getting stronger and stronger. You can see it on the forums, right? Our culture is getting stronger and stronger. Why? Because now it's not just me. Now it's all of you, especially our VIP members. You are helping this culture become so strong so quickly. Just in the last month, I see a big, big difference on our general members forums. Our culture is getting stronger and stronger. Since I wrote down that code of just the 3 things, it's getting stronger. So, in the Effortless English Club, What are we going to do as leaders? We're going to focus on that code, those 3 things, doing the best we can. And that means showing and telling our members constantly, don't worry about your mistakes, focus on your success. Don't worry about your mistakes, focus on your success. Do the best you can, focus on your success. Don't correct mistakes, focus on your success. Okay? Focus on success and strength, compliments, encouraging, positive thinking, strong psychology. Focus on doing the best you can. Focus on doing the best you can again and again and again. I say it. You say it. We all focus on it again and again and again and again and again and again. That's how we make a super powerful culture. And then we all become stronger and stronger together, more and more successful together. We reach that dream together. We help so many people. It's big, it's important. And when we focus on number 2 in the code, to do the right thing, and we're always trying to do the right thing. We don't criticize each other. We don't insult each other. We're always trying to understand each other. In our communications, we're always being very positive, very complimentary. Also by doing that, together, all of us focusing on that, showing that, talking about that, together we create this amazing culture where the communication is very positive and complimentary, and everyone's trying to do the right thing. And of course, they're all connected. Number 3, showing that we care. We show other people that we care. First of all, we talk about it a lot. We say it directly. Hey, here in the Effortless English Club, we show each other that we care. We don't say bad things to each other. If a new member says something that's kind of bad, we correct them. We say, hey, we don't talk like that in this club. We don't insult each other. We don't argue with each other like this. It's not acceptable. We don't do that. That's not part of our culture. In this group, we show each other that we care and we do the right thing. I mean, that's very basic leadership, but it's powerful when all of us are doing it and when we focus on it again and again and again. So let me end by saying this is one of the problems of a lot of groups and a lot of cultures. And this is the problem. They have too many principles and rules and mission statements and values. So that's not focus. If you have a lot of things, you're not focused. You're trying to look at, 10 things at the same time. You can't focus on them. It's not focus. You're distracted. So you just forget it. And that's what happens in a lot of companies and groups. So we got to make it very small, 3 things at the most, maybe 5 at the most, but I recommend 3. But the other thing that happens in so many companies and groups is they kind of forget about these things. The leader stops focusing on them, stops talking about them. So the leader might talk about, we show each other that we care. And the leader says it a few times, and they make some posters and they put them on the wall. We show each other that we care. But then a month later, it's kind of forgotten. The leader doesn't talk about it. The leader starts talking about something new. It's the newest thing, the different thing. And I saw this in, corporate America so many times in big companies. At a hospital I worked at, for example. Like every month or 2 months, they had some new principle, some new thing in our culture that we were supposed to focus on. And the problem is, it constantly changed. And everybody knew that next month it would be something different. And next year it would be totally different. So that's not culture. There's no focus. So you never stop doing this. You choose your 3 things and you keep focusing on them as a leader forever. Do you think Steve Jobs next year will suddenly decide to stop talking about innovation? Oh, let's talk about efficiency now. No, he's not going to do that. Steve Jobs is going to talk about innovation, focus on innovation, as long as he is the leader of Apple. Yes, there will be other goals in Apple. Of course, they will talk about other things. But innovation and creativity are always going to be number 1 at the top, and he's going to talk about them the most. He will never stop focusing on that. It's never going to change. Because that is the rock solid, super number 1 core principle of Apple Computer. And at Effortless English, we have those 3 things: do the right thing, It's number 2, actually, right? Do the best you can and show each other that we care. I'm never going to stop talking about those things. That's not going to change next year. Next year, there will not be a new code. 10 years from now, I will not decide, oh, now we have a new code and it's very different and we're going to do something else. No, no, no. This is so important with leadership. This is what really great leaders do. They focus on something. Not just anything. They focus on the core, the most important things, and they choose 2 or 3 things. And they just focus on it, focus on it, focus on it. They get everyone in their group focused on those things so that everybody has those things at the top of their mind. And they're always thinking, how can we improve these 3 things? How can we improve these 3 things? How can we do these 3 things better? And they're just focused like lasers, on those things. And so they become total masters in that area. Toyota they became the biggest car company in the world by focusing on quality, 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 always improving quality, super quality and service, amazing quality and service. They didn't change it all the time. Yes, the car industry has problems now, including Toyota, but Toyota's now number 1. And I think they're going to be number 1 for a long time because of this. On the other hand, General Motors, the American company, which sucks, they're terrible, and they used to be really great, and now they've just gotten worse and worse and worse. And they declared bankruptcy this year. And part of the problem, GM has many, many problems, but one of their problems is there's no focus. What does GM stand for? What is the number 1 principle of GM or the top 3 principles of GM? Nobody knows. Even people who work for GM don't know. Because one year they talk in this and they talk about this and they talk about efficiency and they talk about green cars, and then it changes the next month and they're building really big cars that use a lot of gas, and then there's no focus at all. Nobody at GM knows what their focus is, what's important. There's no culture. The culture is confusing. The culture is negative. So this is huge. It's simple. A lot of times powerful things are simple. The problem is people say it's simple and then they don't do it. Or they do it a little bit for 1 month and then they stop. But successful leaders, they focus on these core things, these really important principles, and then they do it consistently. You'll notice that's an important theme. In a lot of my lessons with leadership, I talk about consistency, because it's not about doing something just this month. It's about doing it again and again and again and again and again this month, next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. That gives you such amazing power and success. So, that's kind of your last thing, your last homework, is with this code of effortless English, focus on it, talk about it, tell other people about it, notice it. When other people follow it, tell their story and thank them. Focus on those 3 things in that code repeatedly, again and again and again and again, this month, next year, constantly and forever. Just by doing that, you create an amazing culture. And then in your family, you can do this in your family. What is your big vision for your family? I mean, what is it? Most people don't think about this for their family. What do you want for your wife or your husband and your children? I mean, what in your biggest dream and wonderful dream, what do you want for them? Amazing happiness, of course. What do you see for them? What is your incredible dream for your family? And then imagine, what kind of culture do we need in this family to have that? How do we need to talk to each other in this family? What must be important? What must we focus on in this family if we're going to have this vision, this that we imagine, that we see for this family? And then choose 3 things, not 100 things, 3 things. Again, with children, people make the mistake. They have 100 rules for their children. Too many rules. So the child's always getting in trouble. You're always saying, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that bad. They're always breaking rules because probably they're just too many rules. So choose 3 general important principles for your whole family. for you and your husband or wife and your children, for everyone in the family. Everyone in the family knows that these principles are for everyone. And then focus on those 3 things and repeat them constantly. Live them. Show your family, show your children that you also are living these things and that they're important. Talk about them all the time. Teach them how to do them. And when you make a mistake, and you will, apologize to them. Say, you know what? I forgot our code. I didn't follow it this time. I'm sorry. You show your children that, hey, it's okay to make a mistake, but you just remember the code and you come back and you follow it. So you can do this with any group. You can do it with a family. You can do this at your job, in your department. If you have a company, you can do it with your company. If you have a club or a charity you belong to, you can do it with them. In any position, wherever you are, you can be a leader by doing this. Okay? And that's your homework. Your homework is 2 parts. Number 1, do this in the Effortless English Club. We already have the code. You know those 3 things. So talk about them constantly. When we have new members in the general forums, teach them this code. I mean, just tell them the 3 things. Say to them, hey, maybe you don't know, but here at the club, we have a code. It's 3 things. And then tell them. Say, number 1, we do the best we can. And that means it's okay to make mistakes. Just do your best. Don't worry about mistakes. Number 2, we do the right thing. That means we don't say negative things to each other. We don't insult each other. We don't try to argue with each other. We're very positive when we communicate with each other. And number 3, we show each other that we care. That means we compliment each other. We notice when another person does something good or kind or helpful, and we thank them. And we always try to catch each other doing good things and notice when we are all doing good things, and we try to help each other. I mean, just that. If you every day you got on the forums, and every time there's a new member, you just told them the code. You just wrote exactly what I just said. You wrote it on the forums. You say, hey, welcome to our club. Thank you. I'm happy you're here. By the way, this is the code of the club, these 3 things, and this is what it means. I know you're going to love the club, and I know you will love this code. Just do that. That's super leadership. If you do that for every new member, and then other VIP members do the same thing, they also tell them the code. So suddenly a new member comes, and they have 10 people or 20 people or 50 VIP members, leaders, telling them the code. They hear it 50 different times in 50 different ways. They will understand that this code is important. And they'll realize, wow, this is really serious. This is important. I'm going to follow this code also. That repetition is so important. So that's all you need to do. That's your homework. Welcome every new member by reminding them of the code and repeating the code. If somebody complains on the forum or they're being a little negative, that's okay. You don't need to argue with them. Just remind them of the code. That's your homework. I will follow the same homework, I promise. Okay? All right. So this has been a very long video lesson, actually. I hope the file size is not too big. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And enjoy the audio lessons and the mini stories too. And thank you for being a VIP leader. I know you're going to grow more confident, more successful, and you're going to become a better and better global leader. See you again. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.